Kiran, Kumar, Pita. Hey, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Kiran used to work for Games 24x7 as art director and head of art previously. Now he's full-time consultant. He comes with a background of both art production and art direction, as well as from the business aesthetics and leadership stuff. So today he will talk a bit about how the artist growth should be defined with combination of business and creativity. So welcome, Kiran, once again.
Thanks a lot, Shiraj.
Please welcome.
And yeah, thanks to Shiraj and team to get me on board here. So we'll quickly start. So myself, Kiran, I have been with gaming industry for last 17 years, worked with Gameloft, Digital Chocolate, and Games 24x7 for a long time, and also its subsidiary U Games, which is a casual gaming studio. I have been working on mobile casual games, social casinos, real money gaming, and also on the pretty good insights on Indian target audience as well as a global target audience. And I'm very passionate about mentorship, tech-driven creativity, and blending art and business. I think that's where I would say my USP would be there. And I really enjoy that. And I'm also believe in the constant learning. So currently I'm pursuing my management studies with IMA as a senior management program. And right now acting as a full-time consultant. And I have a pretty, I think it's always the same electrifying experience in both GDCs in here as well as the SFO GDC. It's great to see you all. I hope you are having a great time. So what is this talk about? So just reading out my title, Redefining Artist Growth, Driving Business Impact Beyond Creativity. So I'll just try to decode it a little bit. I recall something that takes me back to 12, 15 years back when I used to be like a production artist, where I used to enjoy every bit of art piece what I used to do, irrespective of what the requirement is. The target was always making a great artwork. But as many of you, we also used to discuss with our colleagues art, we always used to have this impression, product doesn't understand art, or leadership doesn't understand art. They don't have art sense. Partially true, but I think one of the bigger questions we fail to ask ourselves is, do we know product? Do we know our players well? Honest answer is no, but we try to figure out it later. Just somehow I recall that. Coming back, I am trying to decode this, my title in terms of how artists can redefine their boundaries to make a contributive impact directly on business and product, and how they can transform themselves from executors to business contributors. And somehow I have a personal feel that it's also time to gear up a little bit for the artist because of the kind of market trend changes. Its market is very challenging, dynamic, evolving, and I see some of the recent trends is coming as a lean teams, like small teams, and generalist approach, tech disruptions. With all this, I just don't feel artist being an artist is not going to take us forward. I think we need to add more wings. And how and where does this new skills take us? So the how part is understanding business and product goals, aligning with them, understanding who are our audience, for whom we are making, what are their preferences, trying to get into their shoes, okay? And where does this take it? In my personal view, what I have seen in the last 17 years, if artists getting complete understanding of business, product, making a direct impact, it should place you in the top 1% of the talent, because this is extremely rare combination of having art with business and product sense. And of course, it will help you to in the career transitioning, because you will see a lot of overview. You will be able to see a bigger picture. Maybe down the line, 3 years down the line, you might like game design, you might like product, or you might, in fact, maybe you will be turning as an entrepreneur. But these are all very, very valuable skills to learn. So, can artists turn into business contributors? The short answer, yes. But is it that easy? Maybe not. We have to keep our efforts. So let's look at what are the art teams typically used to do and their core responsibilities. Undoubtedly, creating stunning artwork for the games, making players immersive experiences, we are extremely good at that. But what is the limitation with that approach is, I think, art is centered over solely on the aesthetics point of view, keeping artists in a bubble as executors where we depend upon requirements given by a game design or a product. So we're very eager to execute the artwork, and we love our artwork, which is great, but I think we miss something to understand the end goal, what are we trying to solve as a whole game teams. And I have been in this bubble. I have been in this bubble, I have lived in this bubble, but like some of the instances kind of changed a little bit for me, the way how I started seeing things. So my manager, who was founder of the company too, and he asked me one day, like, there was supposed to be a very, very important release was supposed to go out, and it didn't happen. And he asked me, hey, what happened? On the day I have my art review, I very well remember this day, and he asked me what happened. I said, like, I don't know, like maybe there is some tech issue. And I was in an assumption that he was asking that, did any art get delayed? Is that the reason? And that's what's my assumption. I said, like, no, we all gave it upfront, we are on track. But that's not what I asked. He said, like, what happened? I said, there is some server issue. What exactly? I said, why do I care? That was my inner feeling, but that's what I didn't say. I said, like, I don't know. He said something that kind of changed me a lot, is that if you want to be a leader, if you want to be a business leader, you have to know every nitty-gritty is what is happening on the floor. You have to know everything that's happening on the floor, why it is getting delayed. And when you know the reason, is there anything that you can do? You may not be able to do anything in the technical teams, but maybe you can just go to them and say, it's okay, please reach out if I can be of any helpful. I think that kind of changed, and also that changed, the next day it changed the way how I saw the Scrum meeting. So usually Scrum meetings, give our update, just chit-chat with colleagues once the update is done. But post that, I think I started to see what is the actual Scrum, to understand what's overall happening. It took a time to get all this understanding. At least it took me like 3-4 months, honestly. And went to each department to understand their pipelines, processes, what kind of challenges they might get it, how well we can contribute to get there. Sorry, deviated. Coming back. So what is being a business contributor means for our teams? I think our core should be strong, absolutely no doubt about that. But along with that, I think having a business acumen, like understanding business goals, product goals, and solving business problems and directly impacting your game metrics, like player engagement, acquisition. The ideal goal of a game is to have as much as possible game engagement and generate revenue. I think if artists can make a direct impact on that, that's the place probably will be called as business contributors. And let's look at a little bit about how games generate revenue. Primarily, the major models are premium, where players buy upfront. So the gaming companies make money before even the player play the game. Next is a freemium in-app purchase, which most of the games, if you guys play like any of the mobile games, casual games or mid-core, where we can install the game, play it for free. But there are in-app purchases where it helps player to grow, move faster, progress faster, and better in the game. That's how we make money. Most of the casual games make money in that way. And the freemium in-app advertisement, that's where the revenue source, major revenue source is the in-app advertising, where most of the hyper-casual games make money through that. And subscription, just like our Netflix and Prime, like some of the PC consoles and even Royal Battle Pass, these are all subscription-based. Now coming to the main topic. So how do we get there? What are the key pillars for business contribution? So I have 4 pillars for that, and for that, all the foundation is data, data-driven approach. So first pillar is seeing through business lens. And how do you see through business lens? Uh, Keeping it very, very simple, seeing through business lens is understanding your business goals. What is your company goals? The advantage of understanding company goal is you will really understand what kind of aspirations the company is having and does it even aspiring you enough to grow. And seeing through the product lens, understanding what game we are making, for whom we are making, what are we trying to achieve in the next 6 months, when we can call it as a successful game, and what are my contributions? I think these are the questions to be asked about. Being in the player's shoes. As artists, we love our work a lot, right? It's very hard to take feedback, criticism. That's how it is, but I think we need a practice in terms of getting out of that shoes and really understand what player needs. I'm going back to my old example, like if product manager is commenting something, or in fact anyone, any engineering guy commenting something that we feel they don't have art sense, that's exactly what our players are. Players are not going to have a lot of artistic sense. They will only tell you whether they like it or not, they're enjoying it or not. And acting art as a strategic partner. This is basically breaking down business goals into product goals, into art department goals, and individual goals. So the whole idea is we should grow as individual while growing with the company. So I'll try to give you a few examples, like what is kind of understanding key business goals. So as I worked with EU Games, so the examples like of understanding key business goals could be every company has its own like goals based on their aspirations. So it could be like being profitable in 3 years, or it could be like building 1 million user base, or it could be making a 50 million annual revenues. And understanding on the product goals and KPIs and success metrics. This is where area which will be closely connected to all of you because we'll be working on games. And the success metrics was highlighted in blue because that's extremely important and the first step if you really want to get into the direct contributions. So let's take an example of the casual games, maybe like a royal match or any of the casual games. So usually the D1 retention is approximately, those are the KPIs. So you'll hear a lot from your product managers like D1, D7, D30, this all feels alien until we know it. Say, in simple terms, let's say like 100 of us here, today we have downloaded a game, 50 of us came back tomorrow, that's what called D1. That's the retention. Retention, by definition itself, how many people you are able to retain. So as a product goal, we'll try to retain as many people as possible to the game so that they should be able to come back, they should be able to enjoy our game, able to spend more time, and able to spend money. We should be able to generate revenue. And success ownership. I think identifying and solving business problems, like probably we are trying to solve some art problems, I understand that, but I think if you really want to get into that business contributions, you really need to identify business problems and solve. Like, I can give again an example like we have in EU Games was, we had a problem that the pipelines, what we are doing, it takes us more than 30 days to generate a player's 30 days of content. And it will break at some point if you are not going to deal with it. So we had to come back, like explore, analyze, and come back with some creative pipelines, efficient pipelines, processes, and finally able to get it back by 30 days. And one of the example I can think of is, it's a mock-up pipeline. So one of the longest poll was animation for us, which was taking like around 90 animations was taking around 30 days. And it was stopping a lot of things as a longer poll. So we could not able to think of anything that improving 10, 20% because it doesn't work. It has to come down drastically down. And we thought of exploring motion capture for casual mobile games. And we reached out to multiple suit vendors like manufacturers. We spoke with them. We had demos. But one thing what we heard is, hey, we supply to a lot of AAA games, but we never saw a casual game making it. And we don't know whether it works or not. But we were desperate to try it and make it happen. So we had some technical challenges, but we passed through that. Kudos to the teams who have done it. And we bought that 30 days of time to around 5-6 days. That pilot has proven. So that if you are really, that's what I would say, like solving a business problem. Player-centric and empathetic-driven. As I said, we might like our art, but you really need to understand who are our players and what do they like, comparing with other games, market analysis, understanding player preferences through feedbacks, surveys that your product teams or marketing teams can help you. It could be as simple as creating a characters that our players can relate to. And acting art as a strategic business asset. So when we started UGame Studio, our aspirations was we have to create one of the biggest casual gaming studio in India, sitting in India making games for the world market. Though it sounded very exciting, it was very challenging. And particularly, it was heavily driven by art. I was excited about the goal, but when I was driving this, the biggest challenge I faced is hiring. So initially, we were looking for teams who have already been working on new games creation, having that mindset. We spent around 6 months, nothing was happening. And it was very clear to me that you are looking for something which is not there. So I think you need to train the teams and create the culture of the mindset. So for that, the strategical part for us is building an European team, a small team in Europe with specializations. The strategic part there is build the team there and train the teams in India and minimize the Western gap what we had, because as a company we are very strong with the Indian market, and we honestly admitted that there is a gap for us to understand the Western market. And again, kudos to the team, they have done a phenomenal work. We could able to minimize the entire Western gap. And we made around 8 soft launches, touched upon all the major casual genre, puzzle genres. And how did we conclude this with a measurable goal is, most of our games, D1 is 50%. That means we didn't see any quality-related issues. So again, giving an example of business goal for us, like UGames, our business goals was making innovative casual games for the world market, sitting in India, and to be on the top, grossing 100 charts, 10 games in 5 years, at least to have 1 mega hit, because game success ratio was very less, we understand that, and at least make like 100 million revenue. Now, why it is important to understand company's goal is what aspirations your company is having. Your aspirations are also going through that or not, okay? So let's look at some of the game metrics to understand this. I know this is all sounding alien, right? CPMs, all. Yes, but no worries. We'll try to crack it with a much most simpler and the smartest way. So let's all visualize we are building a casual game just right now. And our audience are 35 plus females, global market, predominantly North American market. And of course, we made a clone of Royal Match and named it as Queen Match. And let's try to understand marketing front here. I'll just take an example of the marketing front. So we're all now marketing managers, okay? So let's understand the user acquisition journey. So we assume we are running our ads on Instagram, and probably we are all part of the same team. And whenever the Instagram showing an ad for someone, that's called an impression. So if Instagram is showing 1,000 times, those are 1,000 impressions. So maybe let's call this user persona as like Eva. Let's name her Eva. And Eva came across her ad. She clicked it. She liked her ad. She clicked it. She went to the App Store, downloaded, and opened for the first time and played the first launch. This is called install. These are some of the key words that you will be hearing from your marketing teams. Now, looking at if all of us are wearing our marketing hats, trying to understand what are marketing goals, what as a creative team and marketing team usually we try to get to the common goal is acquiring high-quality players at a cost-effective rate. So these are some of the very key metrics to understand, like CPM, CPC, which is nothing, like at least when you know definition, they're very, very, like you can easily connect to that. So CPM is a cost per mile, which is cost per 1,000 impressions. CPC is cost per click. CTR is click-through rate. And CPI is cost per install. How much it is costing us to get one player. Okay? Let's again take a practical example. Let's say we are all spending like $1,000 on an ad, and we got 1 lakh impressions. Okay? And out of that, 10,000 people clicked it. So these are 10,000 clicks. And out of 10,000, like 500 people have installed our game. So we got 500 installs. Now, just going by definition, CPM is total ad spent by your impressions is $10, right? Like your ad spend is 1,000 by 1 lakh into 1,000, as simple as that. Cost per CPC. So it's your overall spend by number of clicks, like your 1,000 by 10,000. So it's $0.1. And CTR, which is an important metrics in the equation, because this tells how our ad is engaging users in the very, very first impressions. What do user feel? Do they even click it or not? When we have a low CTR, it indicates that we are not doing a great job from a creative standpoint. And cost per install is how much it is costing us to acquire a user. I understand this is not much related to the art. It might not excite you. But once you have a clear sense while working with the marketing teams, let's look at how our thought process might change. Imagine your marketing manager coming back and saying that, hey, we have done a creative, but the CTR is lower. Until now, you don't know what is it. But what it tells is like, our ad is not attractive, maybe not relevant, maybe the quality is not up to the mark, maybe the game concept itself is having some issue, or we are targeting wrong audience, or messaging is not compelling. So this is what will be hovering in our mind so that you will be able to understand or identify where the problem is and you can give the relevant suggestions. Let's say our CTRs are great, but installs are lower. People are not installing. They came to our app store and seeing all the materials, screenshots, but dropping off. We are not having great installs. So that indicates again, maybe there is a deviation between the ad what we shown. It could be on the concept, it could be on the quality. So this gives a thought process for us, like to think retrospect what is going wrong, okay? And the data-driven approach. As an artist, you can definitely contribute to this by just taking like some tools like Sensatar, which is a partially free. We can search which are the top grossing games. Let's say you are making a merge game. You can see which are the top 3 grossing merge games. And you can go back to your ads library, Facebook ad library. You can just Google Facebook ad library. You can see what those games are running as ads. It will give you an idea what kind of a quality they are making, what kind of a concepts they are making. So you can be more contributive there. So I'll just show a couple of examples how we have dealt with this at UGames. So we have made our first game, Pet Heaven, which is a bubble shooter core game. And we had a lot of, we had a lot of debates around brainstorming around which game concept to do. Of course, everybody have their own favorites. Someone like pets, someone like fish, and we can't take calls like that, right? So ideally, we have to go with a data-centric approach. We have run our Facebook ads. And surprisingly, not very surprisingly, it was like in our first round of testing, like the pet theme and the fish theme has standed out. We have tested it through Facebook ads, also like a quantitative survey through a player survey. We used a platform called AYTM. So through both of these are pointing out to the one source, which is like, hey, either you can go with pets or fish. So we had gone with another round of testing, another deeper round of testing to understand which one is the right theme for us. So if you can observe this, so from a qualitative perspective, we asked like how many of them would rate 8 to play for pet theme versus fish theme. So 104 people have rated for pet and 88 for fish. And FB data is more reliable because it's as close as to our actual audience. So you can see the CTR is 4.27% versus 2.82. It's a significant difference. Probably because game theme selection is a very crucial part when you are making meta, because it will stay in the game for lifetime. So these are the calls are very important to make through the data. That's my learning from all the years. Similar example, we have made very recently in 23, we have made a game like a merge game, which we know it is going to be on the food theme. But within that food theme, like what other theme can get onto that as a narrative? So again, lot of ideas, right? Like when we start brainstorming, like hundreds of ideas comes. But again, filtering them is a task. But anyways, finally we jolted down to whether it has to be like a traveling theme, or whether it has to be like a master chef show, or whether it has to be like a some whimsical, or like building an overall global restaurant kind. And again, so we have run, and you see this green highlighted part. So the green highlighted CTR, which is click-through rates, it tells us how many people are interested or engaged with your ad and clicking. The higher, the better. So we saw that 4.13% on the restaurant rescue, which is like travel and rescuing restaurants, versus the other one, the worst performing is 2.55, which is the magical kitchen. Probably it is also a little insight for us when it comes to the food, people wants to be in the real world rather than in the magical world. So we had another experiment on install rate, like we had low installs, like people coming to the app store, but probably we had dropping off there. We tried to experiment on the icons front, we did A/B testings, and we could able to improve like around 20% of install rate. So my bottom line here is creating art with your marketing or product, understanding the goal will make you more inclusive. You know what you are trying to do along with your team. You are more inclusive, you are part of the decision making, and it gives you more wings, even in your core. When you understand this, then trying to do art, I think you are making a more effective contribution there. So I talked about player shoes, right? This particular screen was a great learning curve for us. So we made a splash screen, which is that pet heaven. And we took so much time because there was rounds and rounds and rounds and feedbacks are going on that. Design says something, product says something, art disagrees it. We came to a line that, okay, now this is not getting between us, we have to bring some third party. So that is when we try to get a survey. So again, always we can't invest on marketing dollars, but you can use your existing resources. We have ran an internal survey with all the women employees in our company. And surprisingly, not even one single point was matching to what we were fighting for. That's a very tight slap for us. That means we haven't came out of our artist shoes, we haven't came out of our design shoes, and they have given a much more valuable insights through this. So that was a clear learning. I think it's over practice, as I said. And you see the other two screens, which is this landscape of, so we have done a color palette test because there was a D7 engagement was little lower for us. And we were, again, hypothesizing what could be wrong. Is that something that art can do better in terms of getting the retention rate higher? Once the data came, then only we started to think whether this color palette is pretty dark. Maybe it's not exciting. Until the data came, we never thought about it because we are biased, to be honest. But once we tried with this color palette, we have able to pull the retention up. And this is how probably artists can think, if you know the problem, half of the solution is already there. So you can try experimenting, take data-driven decisions for color palettes, art styles, characters. You can buy some marketing dollars from your marketing team, ask them to test it because you are unsure which one will work. So similarly, I think I'm only giving you a gist of like how acquisition worked as a funnel, but I think if you really want to be contributors, you need to go deep dive into player engagement metrics like session times, retention, churn, and like monetization metrics like conversion rate, how many players are installed and how many players are even putting money in our game. That also talks about the game hooks, whether we are able to make money through the game or not. So I'm not going to details here, but if time permits, I will show you some of the examples where we have been acting as a strategic partner to solve few of the through innovative pipelines and process experimentations. Because every company might need their own setup. You have to customize those setups. So finally, where does this skills take us or take you? The biggest shift I would able to see is the mindset shift from pure aesthetic point of view from there to creative goal and a data metrics driven. You know exactly where is the target and you are building your weapons over it. And your perspective and approach in your applying your core also changes. Let's say a concept artist, I have seen it practically. A concept artist understanding what we are trying to solve and what player likes through analysis, the overall number of feedbacks, the number of concepts have dropped out because we know where is the target and what are the player likings. And as I said you, undoubtedly I feel our teams gearing up with this kind of a knowledge would put you on the top 1% because that's what business loves. Business loves people who solve business problems along with their core strengths. And clear understanding of the problem statement leads to relevant contributions and decision makings. How many of you face that you give a lot of ideas but feel you are unheard? At least I faced it in my career in the early stages. That's because maybe we are not giving a relevant ideas. Maybe these are all randomly we are throwing onto the table. So aligning with the product goals, understanding the business, there is a challenge, like there is a problem with the product, particular retention metrics. That's an opportunity. Nobody will come and tell you that, hey, this is an opportunity and take it. Opportunities has to be identified, grabbed, and to be proven. So when you are adding value to the system, and of course you will hear that back again. So it will definitely creates a competitive edge. It helps you for your career growth and transitions. For leadership roles, particularly, this is kind of a must. That's because you are part of the whole bigger ecosystem. And that's how I feel acquiring. As I said I touched level 1. There are a hell lot of levels to this. I touched level 1 because I don't want to make it complex. But I'm a huge aspirant seeing game art communities becoming as good as a product or as good as a business contributors. And it's quite possible. Just that you need to maintain that balance. And I know I haven't covered a lot of things, and I'm efficient. I have closed it 10 minutes before. I know I haven't covered on the retention part or monetization part, but I'm happy to share a playbook with you, all of you. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll be sharing that so that you will have, along with examples to understand that. If you try to acquire this, the biggest thing what I could able to see from my past is you will understand the conversations happening around you. When your product is talking, at least now it's somehow it start making sense. You will understand. The first step I would say that ask questions. If the town hall is boring, start seeing from a different perspective now. Ask questions about it. Where are we heading? Challenge the status quo. It's not like your product is doing something, you have to go with that. Challenge the status quo. Hey, why are we not getting successful? What is lacking? And where I can help? All these questions. I think the first step is asking questions without a doubt. And I'll rest my case here now. And I'll be open up for questions. If I still have time, I'll just show a couple of other examples.
All right, we have a few minutes. We can take some questions, if any. Anyone? All right.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
My name is Ali. Actually,
Hi, Ali.
I have just finished my college and I was thinking of actually starting. One of my friends is actually planning to open up a game company.
Okay, great.
But the thing is that my problem is that I have a little bit of a trust issue with, like, what if I actually show someone my work, my artwork or something, but then they'll end up stealing my work.
How did
So,
you create your artwork without seeing any reference?
no, mostly I was going through historical studies. I'm a person who studies a lot of
So
history.
why don't you aspire others too? Let others
No, it's
see.
not that.
Yeah.
There's sometimes some people create their original artwork
Okay.
and they don't want it to be stolen or so. And you're giving actually a good speech about challenges that you have to face. But my only concern is how do I face this challenge
No,
to
I
prevent
think
that from happening?
no. I think your concern is like if you are showing your artwork to someone else, what if they steal it, right?
And they say that and they claim it's their artwork and they get paid for it instead of me.
No, I think you will have your own copyright. You are not going to share the actual asset, right? You are going to have your watermark or something, or you are talking about someone copying yours.
No, the watermark one.
Then just go ahead with the watermark, right? It's kind of bit okay. No, I think you don't need to worry much. You are at very early stage of your career, and we all know we all take aspirations, inspirations from others' works. We try to improve ourselves. Don't worry about that. Focus on what you're doing. That's what my suggestion would be.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Over there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So my name is Praveen.
Hey, Praveen.
So you had shown slides on where you created different themes of the same game, and then the metrics which we had. Is that a way, like, not to create the complete game and release it out, but then try out different themes?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is even before making a game. We never made any meta themes. We just created a dummy Facebook pages. We had ran our campaigns to understand which would be the most liked by users. So we haven't invested any effort. Our investment was only on those banners. You're right.
Okay.
In fact, this could be even for a game itself. If someone, like as an indie studio, you guys are trying to think of a game, you can just make a couple of banner ads and see how it is working.